Hello and welcome to Sports Talk. My name is Jamie Kepp and I'll be the host for today's show. As you can see, we're on location at the WBCA Clinic. Our guest today is Jerry Petitgoue, Executive Director. Coach, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me, Jamie. I appreciate it.
How about a little personal background about yourself that you care to share with the viewers, whether it's hoops related, family related, or just how you started?
Well, it's been in the state a long time. I started back in 1963 in Gratiot, Wisconsin. Now they're part of the Blackhawk School District. It's in southwest Wisconsin. And I was there from 63 to 67, and the school closed, combined and became Blackhawk. And so wife and I went to Illinois, was there for 4 years. Back in 1971-72, came to Cuba City. And as they say, the rest is history. Been there for 48 years, so it's been fun.
How is your story? How did you get started at Cuba City? Was it a teaching position opening? Was it something associated with coaching, or what was it?
It was basketball, and the superintendent. When I was at Gratiot, he had been the superintendent at Potosi, and we had a little success over at Gratiot, and he remembered that and. Gave me a call one night and said, hey, we've got a head basketball coach at Cuba City and history position. And that's what I taught, was history. So went up, interviewed, and took the job.
At what stage of your career did you get so involved with the WBCA? And was it the start of the WBCA? And at what point of your career was that?
No, I wasn't involved in the early start of the WBCA. Got involved in the 1980s, first working with awards and that, you know what I mean? And then from that awards, I worked with Larry Marshall, who was at that time the executive secretary of the WBCA. And I was president for a short period of time in the organization. And then Larry called me one night and he said, hey, Coach, I'm retiring. I'm going to move to Arkansas. And what do you think? And I said, well, we'll give it a go. And when I took over, there was about 600 members. That was like in 1994. And today we have over 4,000 members. And so we've been really pleased what's happened in the state with basketball, and this is just one of those things. I mean, to think that we could have a basketball clinic in Wisconsin, and over 800 coaches will be at this clinic tonight and tomorrow morning.
That's incredible. You think about your, many years at Cuba City in the course of this Coaches Association, how it went from such small numbers. If there wasn't value in it, coaches wouldn't be a part of it. So how did you sell the value?
Yeah, I think that our mission statement, as we're in it for the kids and to help coaches, and I think that's what I always think about, is helping kids and helping coaches. And so the All-Star Game, we do a number of big events. The All-Star Game obviously is one of the biggest ones, and with our donation this year to the MAC Fund, we'll go over $2.9 million that we've given the MAC Fund. So in another year, we will have given the MAC Fund, Midwest Athletes Against Childhood Cancer, over $3 million.
That's incredible, because the people watching the show may not be familiar with it. So the All-Star Game, now you have the coaches and the players that are selected, each raise a certain amount, and most people don't have trouble raising what's the suggested minimum, and everybody goes above and beyond, because it's such a worthwhile charity.
Exactly, and it's been an easy sell, to be honest with you, and to believe it, most state associations lose money on their All-Star Games, not us. We had 6,000 people here last year for the last summer for the All-Star Games. The girls play on Friday. The third weekend in June, the boys play on Saturday. We have 5 games for the girls and 5 games for the guys. And so very competitive, been great. We just had the Hall of Fame banquet last Saturday night at the Wilderness here in the Dells. We had 730 people.
Wow.
We honored 30 coaches, and a lot of coaches receiving awards, state championship rings and coaches of the year and what have you. So we held a showcase here in September at Just a Game. We had around 135 young men that showed their skills off to Division III coaches. We're planning an all-state banquet next year that will probably be held in Milwaukee. We have academic all-state. We Mr. Basketball, Miss Basketball. We have really proud of our Sunshine Fund. Our Sunshine Fund, if you've got someone that's sick or someone that may have passed away, we always remember, and if they've been a member, we always remember them, you know what I mean? And we'll send flowers and things like this. And I know this past year we spent over $7,000 on the Sunshine Fund, and so it's a good organization, and we have the best coaches in America in Wisconsin. So, you have to get excited about basketball.
Oh, you sure do. Absolutely.
Especially at 52 degrees today, it's right around the corner, so no, it's good.
It is. You think about this, I want to talk a little bit about the different number of people that you had as, kind of working the behind the scenes to get people involved. But before we go to that, how did you ever refrain from the grass is greener somewhere else and be happy, content, motivated, driven to stay put where you were?
Yeah, my home is Galena, Illinois, and I taught there for 3 years, and then I left to come to Cuba City, and I always thought that, I'd go back to my hometown in Illinois. And in 1981, they offered me the head job back at Galena, bigger salary, and I just couldn't leave. I couldn't leave, to be honest with you. And then the only other serious time I thought about leaving was 1997. I was offered the head basketball coaching job at the University of Dubuque in Dubuque, Iowa, and that had been my alma mater. That's where I graduated from.
Okay.
And I came really, really close to taking that. And then wife and I sat down one night, I said to her, do we want to do this? And she said, well, it's always up to you. And I said, I think I was meant to be a high school coach. And so, and I know I went way past my time. Nobody should be at a school 48 years. But
says who?
Being in the coaching world, we're going to have a good team this year. Very good team.
Do you have any reservations or second thoughts at that point in time because, like, what I coulda, woulda, shoulda done? Or any regrets?
No, it was really strange when I almost took the Galena job in 1980-81. That year, we won the state championship. And unbelievable, in 97-98, we won the state championship. So hopefully somebody offers me a job I can turn down and I can say, hey, we're going to win the state championship
either
this
year or next year.
Yeah, so no, I think you need a purpose getting up every morning. Some people say, when are you going to give up I'm not going to give up the WBCA probably until I got one foot in the grave, to be honest with you. I do think that maybe 2 more years in coaching, 50 is a good number.
Okay.
I think that's probably going to be it there. But I've said that before, and I always reserve the right to change my mind. No, I just really feel that, and I've got a tremendous wife, and she's my executive secretary for the WBCA, and she makes me look good. I heard an assistant coach say once, the job of an assistant coach is to make the head coach look good. Well, my wife makes me look good, so
Boy, the things that Joan's involved with for so many things
Yeah.
at WBCA and so many things behind the scenes, whether it even be the person that you know, hands out tickets and collects things at the bank, at the Hall of Fame, or and everything in between.
Yeah,
and it's wonderful.
You know, she has a sit-down meal for 730 people at the Hall of Fame banquet, and everybody's assigned a seat, and it's quite an operation. But she enjoys doing it, and we enjoy basketball, and basketball's been our life, and you know, and I enjoyed teaching. God, I was there for 40 years in the classroom, and every day I enjoyed it. You know, teaching history and social problems and what have you, and make the classroom come alive.
Right.
People will ask me, Jamie, have the kids changed? No, I don't think so. Kids still have goals and ambitions, and they want to succeed. Parents may have changed a little bit. You know what I mean?
Maybe more than
Parents
a little bit.
you know, they may have changed, but kids, no, they don't. And, you know, we never thought about it back in the day. Social media. No. We didn't have to worry about, you know, cell phones. We didn't have to worry about their texting this or that. You didn't, you know, that's the big thing. And when I hear coaches say, you know, I really want to coach, but I don't like to teach, then you better not go into coaching.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you're teaching for 6-7 hours a day. And that's your job.
Sure are.
And,
sure are.
And that's, you know, that's the beauty of it. And I'll admit, you know, I really miss the classroom. I really miss the classroom. But, you know, you get up in years, and it's still nice to sleep in once in a while too now.
It sure is, and you know, it's well deserved. I think about one of the times at the Hall of Fame banquet. I think maybe when Jim Jones went in, I was sitting with Todd Kowalczyk, who was at Green Bay at the time, and at the time we were one of the last 2 coaches to ever use VHS tapes. At that point in time, so we kind of chuckled because we were the two of the dinosaurs.
I still got a machine that will play VHS.
I do too.
You know,
I have one that can switch it from VHS to DVD now too.
Yeah, no, that's true.
So you know, I mentioned Jim's name, and obviously he's a dear friend for both of us. It seems to me, for a number of years, he was such an ambassador for the WBC in the city in South Wisconsin to kind of get people involved.
Jim Jones is one of the finest people that I have ever met. I mean, he just does so much for the WBCA, and it doesn't matter. When I call him, you know, I say, Jim, could you do this for me? And he's right there all the time. Him and another guy that you know there from Watertown, Eli Krogan.
Yes.
He's the best. I mean, so, no, I've been surrounded. You know, one of the things that we've done on the executive board, you know, most executive boards are about 10 or 12 people. We got 50. Okay. We got 50 on our executive board because I said the more the merrier, and let's get the different ideas and let's put them all together, and let's, you know, let's go from there.
That's a sign of a good leader. Once again, our guest is Jerry Petitgoue. He's the executive director of the WBCA. You know, you talk about that. It takes a pretty good leader to have the willingness to have so many voices, because sometimes people are gun shy of that for being overshadowed, or who's going to get credit, or who's going to have something like that.
Yeah, no, I just think that once again, keep in mind, who are we doing this for? We're doing it for the kids. You know what I mean? And the more we can honor kids, and then the more we can honor coaches. Wow, you know. Everybody kind of likes to get a little recognition now and then. And I just think that that's kind of important. And so you can see out here at the clinic, we've got all kinds of awards, all conference plaques, and 100, 200, 300 wins, 25-year watches, coaches of the year, state championship rings. I think the more you can do for coaches, and then, you know, Eli, that we talked about, he heads up the mentoring program. And he's got like 15 Hall of Fame coaches that if there's a young coach out there that needs help, he can call that coach and they'll give him help, you know. And I think that's important because I know when I was young, you know, we had John Barth over at the University of Wisconsin-Platteville, and he was a mentor for me, and Jim Nedelkoff, who just recently passed away. He was a mentor to me, and I think those things are really, really important, that you can, you know, as people will say, you know, your offense. I never thought of an offense in my life. I've copied everything, you know, I've copied everything, and if it's good and it'll work for my personnel, then I'll use it, you know what I mean? And so I never get too shook over somebody say, well, you know, they got a video of your game, and I'm thinking, well, good, that's, you know, I mean.
It is what it is.
It is what it is, you know that.
You know, when you talk about mentors, one of my first games coaching was at Oconomowoc. I was in Milwaukee, and Jim was playing right after us. And people watching the show in Watertown have heard this story about 15 times now through the 10 years. So, you know, you're a young guy in your 20s, and you think you have all the answers, and you're uppity and different things. And my suit coat goes in the row up about 10 rows after what I thought was I don't know, looking back, we'll just say a traveling call. I don't know what it was. And then as I'm, you know, stomping around, I sit back down, and my suit coat gets picked up from a middle-aged man that's the coach at Milwaukee Hamilton, and he goes up in the 10 rows, picks up my suit coat, puts it behind my chair, taps me on the shoulder, and then goes back in the locker room and gets ready for his next game. So that's a true story. We've probably been friends ever since, you know, from the likeliness. So when you think about the sports piece and think basketball specifically, think of how your relationships and your life would be so much different without basketball or without sports.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, the people that you've met through the years, it's amazing the camaraderie and the friendships that you make, and even, you know, you're going against a coach in your conference and you're fighting tooth and nail for that win.
Yep.
But when it's over, you shake hands, and you may not say much that night, but 2 days later you're back on the phone talking to each other and saying, hey, your kids really played well, or I thought we did this. You know, it's that type of, I have a hard time understanding when people say, well, I don't like him, or I really don't like to play against him, so on and so forth. It brings out the competitive nature in you.
And that's healthy, because if it's competitive and there's butterflies, it's worthwhile.
Exactly. I always tell the kids, big games, sectionals, you know what I mean? And everybody's nervous. I said, that's normal.
Should be nervous.
Everybody's nervous. You know, once the ball goes up, you guys will relax. I'll still be nervous.
Right. Because they're in the mix of once it goes down. You know, you look at you mentioned the mentoring program with Eli and different people throughout the state and helping coaches and things. You know, the balance of doing the teacher piece right now with coaching, there's so many things added to a teacher right now, even after school obligations that were never present. Yeah. It even makes the coaching thing that much harder. And, you know, that's why anytime we get a chance to encourage coaches to stay in it, maybe it's as an assistant, maybe it's a different sport, whatever the case may be, it's so important that people they have allies and they have people to lean on.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And, you know, one of the sad things now is that you say being a dinosaur. Well, people that are in it for 20 years now, pretty much of a dinosaur.
Right.
You know, people are not staying in it like they used to. You know what I mean? And I think that's kind of sad, because there's so much pressure, you know, to win. And Joe Madden, who just got fired by the Cubs the other day, I guess don't know if he got fired, but he left.
Contract went out, right?
Yeah. And he had a great slogan. He said, don't let the pressure exceed the pleasure. And I think that's really a great coach. You know, I just believe that, yes, we want to win, but you know what? Win or lose, the sun's going to shine tomorrow. Well, maybe not in Wisconsin the last couple of weeks, but
somewhere it's going
to shine tomorrow, and you'll look back on it. The games that I remember most, Jamie, are the ones that I probably lost, to be honest with you. Yeah, you remember the wins here or there, but more than the wins are the relationships that you have, you know, with the kids, and you're so pleased that, hey, this one gives you a call, and what are you doing now? Hey, I'm an attorney down here in North Carolina. Wow, it's a long ways from Cuba City.
Right.
You know, a doctor, that played for me, successful business people. And it's always great to see kids that you had go into teaching and coaching, so no, it's been a good life.
You think about that all the time with the kids and the involvement, and really you don't even know the impact you had on them until they're older.
Yeah.
And that's just, sometimes they come back, sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
It might be from someone else, just you catch blind luck or good luck,
That's exactly right.
And I
That's
think
exactly
young coaches today, I think they have tough jobs in a lot of ways because of the world of social media. When they start their career out and everything's such a focus on wins and losses. I tell this story all the time. When someone calls, I had wonderful mentors as athletic directors.
Yes.
And I think having been a head coach, it's really helped me
Sure.
with some of the various pressures. So if someone calls me and complains about little Susie's playing time, I just always say, hey, what did Susie's coach say when Susie brought it up to their coach?
Yeah.
And
No.
when they say they haven't, I just say, hey, our phone call is respectfully over. Until that takes place, have a nice day. And I don't get any calls anymore because I don't butt in.
No, I have a meeting before the season starts, and we go through, and I say, hey.
As every coach does,
Yeah,
right?
and I'd say to the parents, you're really good parents and you care about your kid, and that's good. You know what I mean? But there's certain times I'd love to start them all, but I can't.
Right.
I can't. So bear with me. There is some sort of madness to my decisions that I
Right.
make, and when it's all over, I want your son to be able to say, "This was a fun season, and I'm a better person because I played basketball for Cuba City this year."
Right. And that's all you want. When as we get ready to close the show here, the last kind of words for the importance of the WBCA and for coaches that are going to watch it, and they'll watch it online throughout the state, and maybe some of them that aren't involved or don't see the value of this. What would you tell people to say how important it is to become a part of this from an association standpoint?
Oh, I think it's huge. You're part of your group. There's such value in the coaching profession, and so I just urge everyone to be a member and be an active member and be proud of it, and that's what we try to do.
Wonderful. Once again, our guest is Jerry Petitgoue. He is the Cuba City head basketball coach and also the executive director of the WBCA. This concludes another edition of Sports Talk. Until next time, keep talking sports. Coach, thank you very much.
Hey, buddy. Thank you.